A couple of days ago, the White House released this photo, and what the press missed and what they missed was that it actually reveals a really deep truth about how Donald Trump is completely incapable of doing the job as president. And this is all happening as a civil war is brewing within MAGA, caused by none other than Laura Loomer, who loves to stir up some trouble. She's now going after a Trump appointee who has to be confirmed by the Senate named Stanley Woodward, because he has a picture with his wife here that says Black Lives Matter from May 2020. And apparently Black Lives Matter is, quote, unacceptable to MAGA. Well, Peter Navarro came back and fired at Laura and said, "This is the dumbest post I've ever seen. Woodward bucked both the left and right to defend me, as well as J6 defendants, and did a great job at the White House. Back off his wife and kids. He is a superb lawyer who has the boss's back." Laura Loomer then fired back, "It's wild how there's a ton of unqualified lawyers in our country, GOP lawyers, but people like real Peter Navarro want to die on the hill of loading up the Department of Justice with Marxists like Stanley Woodward. Why do some of the people who surround President Trump insist on surrendering all of our wins to the left?" It is crazy that this is how they perceive the left. She's gone on to even release videos asserting that Stanley Woodward, who was just nominated by President Trump, is married to Kristen McCaw, a progressive Democrat DC lawyer who testified in 2023 in support of Black Lives Matter riot, and even took credit for the massive Black Lives Matter street mural outside of the White House. So to MAGA, this is unacceptable that someone would support something like Black Lives Matter. And it sounds like this guy is actually very cut from the cloth Republican, and Donald Trump has his support, but Laura Loomer here can't handle it. And I love to see it. Mike Waltz also figured out that Laura Loomer, if she's on your side, it works. If she's not, you're going to leave. Laura Loomer is the one who is making staffing decisions within our government. She attacked Mike Walz a couple of days ago, and now he's gone, as you, I'm sure, all know. But what is stunning is you can see the moment that Mike Walz realized it was over, when he was trying to get on Marine One with Donald Trump, and instead was left standing on the tarmac for 10 minutes.
And Mike Waltz, we noticed, traveled on Marine One with him, but 10 minutes later, you see at Joint Base Andrews, that's his figure. He does not get on Air Force One. It's only about a 10-minute flight, so it's extremely odd to take the helicopter flight and then not actually go on the trip. I was told he was not supposed to go on the trip, and so people raised questions about what this moment meant. So we've been asking White House officials about it, and essentially it just got to a point where he didn't have a lot of confidence, not of the president, not of his senior staff, and he was told, I was told earlier this week, that his time as the National Security Advisor had come to an end, and it was time.
Incredible. There's also a civil war brewing between J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. There's one way in which this has kind of revealed itself, and that is Rubio threatened to withdraw talks between Ukraine, Russia, and America. And then just a couple of hours later, J.D. Vance said he was optimistic that a peace deal would be achieved in Ukraine. So there's that little bit of it bubbling up, but CNN actually has even more reporting talking about this very thing. And it has to do with Mike Walz. The Mike Walz situation is a sign that Vance is on the rise and Rubio is not.
You talk about an emerging kind of, how to put it, rivalry, I guess, between J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. And of course, a lot of this has to do with the very divide that we're talking about.
Well, all this stuff is always very fluid. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago, there were stories about Marco Rubio being sidelined by Witkoff and Elon Musk and other people who are sort of shaping foreign policy and what's going on at the State Department. I do think Segregate was clearly a factor here, but it wasn't the factor. If Mike Waltz had had a better relationship with White House staff and the president, it's very possible you would see the president talking about Mike Waltz like he's talking about Pete Hegseth right now. I mean, both those men obviously have culpability in how that series of events transpired, but the president is fully behind one of them and is sending the other one up to New York City. We wrote a story that published Monday, and we said that Waltz was expected to be out by the end of the year, if not much sooner. And I mean, it was sooner than we expected, but the writing was definitely on the wall.
The writing was on the walls. Okay, sorry, that was terrible. Let's talk about this photo. Caroline Leavitt, seen here, wearing a cross that somehow is not exploding as it makes contact with her skin, holds a human child, I assume hers, with Donald Trump here. And what this reveals is stunning. So what this picture is Caroline Leavitt actually posted this, and MAGA took wind of it and said things like, wow, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt brought her baby to the Oval Office, humanizing children in front of the most powerful people in the world. Children aren't burdens, they're the future. And then someone else wrote, I actually thought this was really funny. Wow, powerful stuff here. I didn't realize children were human until Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt brought her baby to the Oval Office. Anyways, what they're actually looking at there, what this photo is Donald Trump determining which picture he wants to post online of this when he displayed the MS-13 Photoshop job of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's hand, which, by the way, as we all know, Donald Trump actually thinks MS-13 is tattooed on his hand, like the MS-13 are on his hand.
He wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
Anyway, so Donald Trump was trying to pick which picture he wanted to post online. And here is how friend of the channel, Harry Sisson, explained this moment.
This dude is so concerned about his appearance that he's taking time out of his day when he's president to make sure that his hair is right in the photo when he wants to put it on social media. Remember when Donald Trump said he'd be working for you? His definition of working is looking at different variations of photos of himself to make sure that he looks up to standard in his eyes.
By the way, someone posted this. John Cusack, the actor, posted this. It says MS-13 on, and this must be real. This must be real. It says MS-13 on his head. Donald Trump must be MS-13. I'm looking at it right now. It's as clear as day. So this is a rudderless administration that is experiencing infighting and cannot get much of anything done. They may have had a plan for the first 100 days of destroying. They have no ability to build, certainly no ability to maintain alliances within this really weakened coalition. And we're seeing that with Mike Walz being fired. It's not going to be the first one, or he's the first one, but he's not going to be the last. And we're going to see more shoes drop. And by the way, Trump, he's MS-13.